Hi everybody, it's Watercolor in the Psalms with Pam. And today we're up to chapter 5 and we're going to do Psalm 5 verse 3. And that verse says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my request before you and wait expectantly." All right, so I gotta say, today we are going to paint a coffee cup. And we're going to go through the whole process as well on what I do when I plan a page like today. So when you get a chance to do your devotions and you want to just open up your journal and start, you can go and do it on your own as well. I want to admit that I enjoy a really good cup of coffee in the morning, and I love my quiet time. And this verse is a good reminder to me when I get up to talk to God. When I get up and enjoy that cup of coffee, sit down and talk to my friend Jesus. He is there listening and waiting for you. So let's get started. Like I said, I'm going to kind of walk you through my process first. So I have this paper, this pad, and it's about the same size as my journal here. So I've picked my verse, and maybe you've done your devotions and you're going, okay, I like this verse, and I'm gonna write that verse out. Perfect. Now you can either draw something that is about the verse, like we're kind of doing today, or you can turn around and say, I just today really want to paint a tulip. So you can paint a tulip and put any verse you want with it, okay? So that's how the process starts in my head. But with the cup, I want to show you kind of how I'm going to lay it out. So I'm thinking the cup is going to be in the center and it's going to be a big cup. And when I draw a cup or a jar, I find if I draw an oval a few times, I get a better oval. And then I can come around and I might even make this a little bigger on my pad. And I'm going to make me a mug, okay? And I'm going to put on a handle. And it's like, it's okay. Nothing fancy, nothing spectacular. That's kind of what I have in mind. I might put some steam coming up out of that when we get done. That should leave me enough room to write my verse. I always write my verse out first. So being as wide as it is, this being a good middle, that's what I love about this paper. I'm going to start here. And this may not be how I end up writing the words, but I'm going to just kind of helps to space it out a little bit. So in the morning kind of gives me a little bit of idea how much room it's going to take me. And as before, I'm going to do my fancy Lord. Didn't do it real well, but okay. I'm going to stick with I think I'm going to skip a line, because I've got plenty of paper here. And I'm going to use the word here to do cursive. And I'm going to do voice again as cursive. I always like to find some that I can make a little different. All right, so we're going to go and repeat what we did here before. In the... This also helps when you go to write it, that you have it all written out and you don't have to second guess what words you're doing. I lay my... Now, because I'm practicing, I see this is a little bigger. I'm going to put a little arrow here so I remind myself, start just a little bit over that way. Okay? And let's start over again. And I'm going to, oops, we're going to skip a line, sorry. That's kind of a crummy R, but, and, oh, I misspelled. There. Request before, and since I've been writing Lord, we're going to do that with a capital as well. You. And we're going to want to make sure we keep that over or not maybe go quite as stretched out. And skip a line. And wait. Expectantly. Expect and lay. There. We don't have the verse in there yet. And I'm writing all the way to the bottom. So I was thinking maybe we'll put the where it's found here. And then a new thing I'm going to show you today is how to make a banner. This is going to be a simple banner because this is where we're going to put the date, just to learn something new. So to make a banner, make 2 even lines. We'll make this one right on these lines so that it's straight. Just draw 2 lines, cap both sides. Then in the middle of the rectangle, draw a line. And then, a little ways in, not very far, come down and draw a line. Now, this is really too far. We want this space between this one and the bottom here to be the same because this is a ribbon. So this one probably should come in the middle, just like this would be the same size. So I'm going to come down, halfway, go in the middle. I'm going to point my ends. Okay. And then I'm going to, from the bottom point to this point, we're going to take it in. I might even color this a little darker so you see it. And then we're going to put the date here. That's an easy banner. We'll make some other ones later where they curve a little bit more. So this is the general idea of what I want to paint today. It gives me an idea where I'm going to draw my stuff, how much room. So when I actually get into my journal, I'm not lost at what I want to do. Now, being that it's this simple today, you probably could have gotten away without doing the whole explanation. But we didn't, so we're going to go for it. So once again, I am going to draw my oval. And when I look back, it's probably right in the middle of the page. Until I kind of feel like I like my oval. Now, it might be down too low because that verse took up a lot more room. So, sorry, I'm going to do that over. That is the beauty of the live. You get to see me make mistakes as well. Let's go up here a little bit higher. So when you go to think of your oval, think of it a little further up. And whatever you like for your oval. Come down for your cup. And I probably end up erasing a few times, a few lines if I don't like the way it comes around. And I'll put my handle on here. I want them to come kind of swooping down like that. I'm going to lightly erase this. If you have the kneading eraser, remember I told you about that. It's a little easier on your paper. You can roll it and you'll pick it up as well. I'm hoping, I'm looking in my camera here, I'm not sure you can still see this, but I can see it so I know where the lines are. Okay? That's that part. We could do the words right away because we're not going to be putting anything underneath here. So in order for me to do the words, I've got to open my book. It just writes better. And I think I'm going to draw the lines. I could take my light box, but I didn't really want to haul it out at the moment. So I'll line up some lines here for us. And from our drawing, again, we had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So kind of got to space them out. 1, 2, 3. Make sure I'm doing them straight here. 4. And because we're not putting the date down here, that's kind of cool. We've got plenty of room. It'll look a little bit spacish. All right. And I think because we're drawing at this point anyway, I'm going to make my banner up top too. And we're just going to draw. These are going to be hand for my date. Again, halfway here. Come in and draw part way down. Kind of like half the size of your box that you did is probably a good way to think of it. Your line out. Your arrows. Your line in. Your line in. And now we've got everything drawn. I'm going to take my number 5 Micron pen. And I said I was going to do it this way, but I think I'm going to still go back this way. And we're going to start to write. So my in the morning, Lord, was about halfway. So looks like on the picture, I maybe can start about here. In the I'm going to do this type where it's real low and real high and the crosses up and down on the T's and the H's. Morning. Sorry, I'm quiet here again. Didn't mean to be that quiet, but I am. I don't want to misspell the word. Morning, comma, and I am going to do it with my calligraphy pen, if I can find it back here, for something different. For those of you who want to try that, it's fun to do. It also helps in the future when you want to write on a card, you've done some practice. So, good deal. Now, I committed to one word. Now I'm committed to all of them. Okay, in the morning, Lord. And we decided this one could come over right under, not quite under, but. And I think we did it once. We'll do it again. We'll come back with this one. And you'll see that I try to pick up my pen. And this is really hard paper to use this type of pen on because it's so rough. But it's okay. Here, come back to this one. Oops, got my paper here. Voice. Sorry. My voice. And this is the line that we said we really had to come over for sure, which makes it look kind of cool on the paper as well. These lines don't look like they were the same amount of room between them, but that's okay. In the morning, and I encourage you to try different penmanships, different letters, different fonts, just because it's fun. And that one did not go well. I lay, and I can see I'm going to be really close again. For a minute there I was going to write May. It's my, M-O-I. Requests. And I think I'm going to keep going further over just a tad. Especially when I use this type of pen. It has a tendency to get bigger versus smaller. And the object is to downstroke be heavier, upstroke be lighter. And sometimes it works, and sometimes I struggle. Request. Before. I think I should have made the B big like I did the R, but I didn't do it, so anyway. If I was doing this on a card to give away, I'd really be mad at myself. Before you. It also does not help any that I've got this tripod between my legs as I do my videos, so there we go. And wait. This took me a little longer than I was thinking. I would normally not have done quite this much writing with you guys, but we did it, so we'll get her done. Expectantly. E, which I messed up. I'll try to make it better here. X. P. For some reason my E's don't want to do what I want them to do today. Now this is where I don't like where I run into my other one. T. A. And on my sample, of course, it didn't do that. So T. L. Y. Oops, don't forget to put the X. There. It's not perfect. It's not horrible. I'm not totally disliking it. All right, so while we get our pen out, we're going to just do this banner a minute too. And I like to be a little rougher on the banner. I don't want it so absolutely beautiful. I want it to kind of have some extra little lines in there. Probably color that in a little bit. You could also do it with, you could also paint this. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll paint this before we get done with the cup. All right, so there is the basis. Let's get to the cup and the colors. I like aqua. I highly recommend that you pick a color that you like. Make your cup in your favorite color. All right. This one's going to be called a turkey blue on my palette. I'm going to get my, try to keep that in there for you. My brush wet. I forgot to make my paints wet. I'm sorry. And my turkey blue is right here. So I'm going to just put some paint on that and let it sit for just a second. We're also going to take some Payne's gray and some black. Actually, I really want to stay away from the black if we can help it. So let's skip the black and let's do some of that burnt sienna. So let's get over here and on your brown, make that damp. And I'm going to put some water in the well by my Payne's gray. And over here, I'm going to take that brown, with my damp brush, and I'm just going to make a puddle of it here. And then I'm going to take it and make a second puddle, and you'll see why. We need the brown for the coffee. Rinse my brush out, and I'm going to take that Payne's Gray with that brown to give me some black. I don't remember what I needed the black for, but I think I will shade that in the bottom last. Because we don't need the Payne's, the darker color on the cup at all. We just need one color. So what I'm gonna, oh, our color should be nice and wet here. So now that it's wet, I'm gonna throw that on the tray here. So you can see that it's gonna be kind of nice and should be enough for the whole cup. My brush has still got quite a bit on, and that's where we're gonna start. I'm gonna come around where my cup is and just go like so. Okay, and probably go under the lip. And then I'm going to rinse my brush out, just so you know I've got a dirty one back there. And with that little bit of water on there yet, please, we're going to spread that out. And I just wanted that to be a little darker on the sides, so it saved us as we went. I didn't get all the way to the bottom here, but all right, so we're activating that nice and colorful, okay, on the side, but we're not going to pull that dark color all the way through. We're only going to pull it part way, and then we're going to come back on this side and do the same. Make sure that we've got that darker color, and if you don't feel like you have enough, dip into that other, and let's get that a little darker along here. That is going to give us the curvature of our cup. I may have kind of drew this a little bit off, so I don't care where my drawing was. I'm going to fix it as I paint. I'm going to take this color just again here. I'm going to rinse my brush out one more time, and I'm going to spread this. You can leave a white spot if you want. I'm just, while it's wet, I'm going to let it kind of spread into the middle there. That gives that cup a little more rounding, okay? Or just make sure you don't get a water line. This brush is from Craft AMO. It's a round number 8. I got it with Emma Jane. It's got a nice point on it. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to go around my oval. Just a line around the back of my cup, okay? So just get a nice line to start. Go around where you did your oval before. All right, next we're going to, I rinse my brush off, and I want to take a little bit, if I can, from back here. I want it to be a little lighter. Or, in the case that it doesn't want to, we can make it a little darker. I want these sides to be darker here and lighter in the middle again. Okay. That's it. Let's do our handle. Basically, we're just going to get that wet paint that we had there and put her down. And I want to put some shading on that as well. In my book, when I would look, I would say that the inside here is going to need darker. Just dip your brush in that dark and let it get in that wet paint so that my handle's going to be bigger than I planned, but that's okay. I'd like it to be dark underneath there, because of course there'd be a shadow there. And I was going to put a little bit dark on top, right here. So it's going to be more dark along the bottom here and up. And maybe just a little bit here. You could actually put a little bit there. I'm going to put another layer on my cup. Kind of messed up right here. And I want to, you see, I didn't have the brush near as wet. It's just that paint from doing the handle. When I picked up a little bit more, I didn't add any more water at this point. And I want to just feather that. You can rinse the brush out at this point, dry it as best you can, and kind of feather it in there. It's going to get lighter, but you won't have quite as much of a line, a drastic line that way, but I want it to be lighter, but I don't want to, I like it to have that little cast there. Okay. We're going to let that set. If you feel like you need more shading somewhere, you can always add a little more yet. You can always come down here, add a little more there. Actually, I think the darker should be underneath on this side. If I think about it. And maybe on this side a little. I rinsed it out. I want to try to get rid of that hard line. I want it to have a little darker, but I don't necessarily need to see the hard line. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry. While that dries, I'm going to go up top here because I got paint left, and I'm just going to color in my banner. Now, if you recall earlier, I did the lines in there. You don't have to, but you could put a little darker in there. You can make this really colorish, coloring bookish, or you can do what I'm going to do, and that's going to be, see how I shaded it? And I might go out of the lines. If I got enough paint here, I might go out of the lines a little bit, just because I just like to see a shadowish thing on it. So a little bit out of the lines, okay? I'm going to clean the brush. I probably, now that I look at it, wish I had gone down just a little, because we do need to put a base on the bottom. It's got looks like it's just standing there. We don't want it to just stand there. So earlier, remember, we took that brown and that Payne's gray or a gray color, and we're going to make that the shadow. And because we wrote our letters so close, we won't go quite as far down. We definitely want that cup to be sitting on something. Okay. And you can make it a little darker. We were saying the light was coming this way, so I would say, I don't have enough here, sorry. Get my brown back here. My Payne's gray is a really dark blue that I use a lot. And maybe we just got too much on there. Rinse my brush off and we'll use this. We're gonna put a second shadow, like that's the cup. Okay, so it has the outline of a table of some sort it's setting on, which is lighter, but then the shadow of the cup is besides. Okay, I think it's dry enough. We need to have some coffee. So let's take that brown, and this one's pretty wet. I want to go on that wet, sorry. Just grab a little out of my palette. And rinse your brush out. If you feel like you've got too much, sop it up. Take it to the edges. And I'm going to take that brown out of my palette and just get a little darker line in there and kind of swirl it. So it looks like it's got a swirl. Now we can take one of your liner brushes, your number ones, if you have a smaller brush to do line work. I see that I got a little line up here yet from my original drawing. I'm going to erase. I ended up making my cup smaller. Taking my liner brush, and I'm going to take that brownish gray that we made, And I'm going to just get some steam out of that cup. Just because it looks cool. So a little steam. If I can keep some on this very fine brush. Well, come on, Pam. And that is your picture. Put your date on. You can always put some words around it if you're thinking of a word for the day that you want to remember. Maybe this here is talking, you're going to say your prayer, and you're going to ask for peace, and you're going to ask for patience. You could write that up in there. Whatever you would like for your day. But as you can tell, we can see kind of the rounding of the cup this way. That's how you make it not look flat. I could have shown you, I don't have a picture. Yeah, I have one here. I just want to show you if we had done the cup all in one color. This is pretty wet, sorry, but I just want to show you. This is not 140 paper either, but how the cup looks so much nicer with the rounding and the shading. So there it is, plain. We'll make a really fast one here. And you can tell me what you think. It's going to be a little weird because I've got this paint too wet, and this paper doesn't like to do what I'm doing with it, but wants to give lines. Sorry to say, this is a non-140 paper. This was all supposed to be one color. I'm trying to keep it one color anyway. And trying to get a little more color on this. If the color you picked doesn't seem to get dark enough for you, you can always add, depending what color you went, you could add some brown, you could add some purple, you could add some different color, whatever cup you chose. This is not going to work the way I wanted to for you guys, but you get the idea. If I just take this out of the middle here, that will work. It gives it more dimension, as you can see. Now, there's one more step we could do, even more. Remember how we said the light was coming from this way? Let's take that same color we shaded with. We want it to be light. And we're just going to go along the side of the cup here. So there's kind of a shadow there. And you'd want to put it here. Not to get too much of a line. And I'll try to make it a little darker so you can see it. And that's going to give it even more dimension. I don't know if you can see that in the picture or not, but it does give it a little more dimension by adding the shade from which way the light is coming. Okay? So that is, oh, we didn't put the psalm in the middle. It's going to be, hopefully this is dry. So Psalm 5, verse 3. I like that. There you go, everybody. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in a day or so.